So, Paula, thank you for this opportunity to interview you. I understand that the Hitting Stops Here has launched another campaign for protecting American school children. What is it called, and tell us a little about it?
Well, thank you so much for this opportunity to share about our campaign. And it's actually called Ending Corporal Punishment in Schools Act HR 3027 Campaign 2012. We simply named this campaign after the bill itself. The bill was introduced September 22nd, 2011, to the present 112th Congress by the lovely New York Representative Carolyn McCarthy. Since then, our organization has been alerting the general public about this bill and its importance through our different social networks such as Twitter, Facebook, America Speaks, Blog Talk Radio, and even on our Lelo TV show that comes on weekly called American Safe Pass. And to find those networks that we're a part of, one simply has to go to our homepage. And if you look in the left column, you'll see the links to Twitter, Facebook, to all of them. And our website is www.thehittingstopshere.com. Recently, we began a 50 calls a day campaign for having at least 50 concerned citizens contact United States Education and Workforce Committee Chairman John Klein. We're asking people to call 3 to 7 times a week, asking that he co-sponsor HR 3027. They can make this request of him by email, by phone, by fax, postal letter, and even Twitter, or simply by going directly to his office personally in Washington, D.C.
And tell us a little bit about John Klein.
Well, Representative John Klein is actually empowered to have all U.S. school beatings ended, most of which is targeted at children of color, those who are poor, and those having special needs. In other words, those in greatest need of his support. We need every concerned citizen, young and old, to support this effort for having him co-sponsor this bill, because the other U.S. Education Committee members are following his poor lead by refraining from co-sponsoring this bill as well. We need 16 more Education Committee members to co-sponsor this bill for having it reach the House floor, or we just need Representative Klein to force the bill to the floor. And I'd like to add that there are 39 United States Education Committee members. And out of that 39, we need 20 to co-sponsor the bill for it to move on to the floor. Here we are. Today is March 23rd. The bill was introduced September 22nd. And besides the person who sponsored the bill, Representative McCarthy, only 3 members of the U.S. Ed Committee have since co-sponsored this bill for the protective needs of American school children who count on them.
How can people learn what to do to become a part of the 50 Calls a Day campaign?
Well, concerned citizens can go to our website and visit our message board. In fact, it's very easy to find. Again, our website is www.thehittingstopshere.com. And near the top, right below our mission statement, you'll see message board in gold-colored letters. And if you click on that, it will open up and you'll see the title right there, 50 Calls a Day Campaign to U.S. Ed Chairman John Klein. All of his contact information is posted there with a brief sample message that everyone can use.
What exactly is school corporal punishment? A lot of people I've spoken to have never heard this term.
School corporal punishment is a euphemism for pain-based behavior management. Which one sounds better? I'm going to send my child to school and allow the teacher to administer school corporal punishment, or I'm going to allow them to administer pain-based behavior management. That's the essence of what school corporal punishment is. It is a way of training school children by deliberately inflicting pain on them for the purpose of gaining their obedience.
Wow.
And our U.S. government sanctions this practice. It's a form of enslavement when you think about it, and it is actually the lowest way one can train a developing human being. There's a long list of harmful lasting effects from this maltreatment. And one place you could learn more about this is by visiting Mr. Jordan Ryak's website, which is www.nospank.net. In American schools, there are populations of American students who routinely receive this maltreatment. And there are also populations of American students who are protected and where teachers are prohibited from treating them in this way. Most of these students who are protected are completely unaware that their peers in different parts of the USA are being treated in a way that actually contributes to fostering a violent nation.
Is this maltreatment towards school children random or targeted at specific groups?
This maltreatment is targeted first at children of color, poor whites, and children having special needs, particularly those having autism. And according to a recent ACLU report, children who are deemed openly gay by their educators. School children living in wealthy U.S. communities would not know this is going on in other parts of the country without some research on their part. It's basically a secret. Other populations that are protected from U.S. school beatings are Asian school children, Middle Eastern school children. We actually have no statistics on these children being targeted for U.S. school beatings. We also have been unable to find any statistics on black male educators striking the buttocks of white American girls, although black American girls are struck on their buttocks by both white males and black males by the tens of thousands every school year.
I understand that April is Spank Out Month. Do you have any plans for April with your campaign?
Oh, sure. And in fact, before I even mention what I have in mind, I want to tell my listening audience about Julie Worley. She's a friend of mine who lives in the state of Tennessee, and she is a part of a group there called Tennesseans Against Violence in Schools. Well, I'm so proud of my friend Julie because on April 5th, she's making a trip to Washington, D.C., where she and others will be holding signs for having corporal punishment banned in Tennessee or virtually the U.S. But all of the people that are planning to go at this point are from Tennessee. And Tennessee is a very, very big paddling state. And they're very concerned. The rally begins on Thursday, again, April 5th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., and it's going to be held on the Capitol steps. And for more information, you can contact Julie directly at her email address, which is gwworley1@netzero.net. And we're asking people to support Julie out there. And what we're going to actually be doing for Spank Out Month, on that same day, the Hitting Stops Here will be holding signs up outside of the Hawaii State Capitol building. And we're asking people everywhere to also participate on April 5th, holding signs saying, Representative John Klein, please co-sponsor H.R. 3027. If you just have that on with his phone number, we will be so grateful. And we also would like you to send an email requesting ideas for how to help protect children throughout the U.S. from your state. You can send an email to us at info@thehittingstopshere.com. We have another fun event coming up too, by the way.
Oh, and what is that, Paula?
It's going to be an event that we're calling Bike the Capitol, and it's actually going to take place April 19th right here in Hawaii. We're going to be circling the Hawaii State Capitol building 19 times, once for each state, still allowing teachers to strike the children in their care with wooden boards. And we are actually going to go one more time around the state capitol for our U.S. territories. We'll be visiting the offices of Representative Mazie Hirano as well as Senator Dan Inouye. Representative Mazie Hirano, she is actually on the United States Education Committee. There's absolutely no reason for her to refrain from signing this bill, especially when we don't allow school children to be beat in the state of Hawaii. So we think that once we visit her office, that she will encourage others to sign. We don't see her refusing to do this. So we're actually pretty excited. That's April 19th, and we want everybody who's able to get out here to Hawaii to come on out with their bicycle and circle the Capitol building with us 19 times.
Well, that sounds really great, Paula. Are there websites for people to learn more about Spank Out Month activities?
Yes, actually, you could visit the website of the lovely Nadine Block, and that is www.stophitting.com. As a matter of fact, Mrs. Block is the person responsible for beginning Spank Out. Well, she actually calls it Spank Out Day because by April 30th, the last day of the month, having done numerous awareness events throughout the country, we're hoping that people will learn and that by April 30th on Spank Out Day, they would actually come to the conclusion that what they're doing is harmful and will have picked up a number of skills that are effective and also respectful for both the child caregiver and the child being trained. So,
Very good. What about May or June when school children are getting out of school for the summer?
oh, well, we're actually planning a few things right here again in Hawaii. We're planning a dance awareness marathon. We're considering putting together a 19-hour non-stop dance marathon. So we'll be biking in April, we'll be dancing in May, and we will be posting this information on our website, again on our message board. And in June, the Hitting Stops Here will be leading a campaign rally in Washington, D.C. We will have students, parents, professionals, concerned citizens speaking out, and we will be visiting offices of the U.S. Education and Committee Workforce Committee. And, of course, we will start at Representative John Klein's office.
And once again, what is the name of the campaign?
It's the Ending Corporal Punishment in Schools Act, H.R. 3027, Campaign 2012. And we're still firming up plans for this event. However, it will most certainly be held in June. The dates will be posted on our website message board and our other social networks like Facebook and Twitter, America Speaks, Blog Talk Radio, and even on our Olelo TV show, American Safe Pass.
I see Safe Pass in all caps. What does it stand for?
It stands for Student Alliance for Education in Peaceful American Schools. This campaign is necessary for having American school children protected by law right away. Every day, more than 2,000 school children are targeted for sanctioned assault and battery in our schools every 4 minutes to the point of their needing medical attention.
What can people do to help in other ways?
Well, another very important thing that we want our supporters to do is go directly to our homepage again, right near the link to the message board. In gold letters, you'll see the words, How to Help. If you click on that, it will open up to a message that has email addresses, sample letters, and a variety of ways that people can help further this cause. And so that's a very important thing that we want people to do.
And for viewers who want to know what to do to train children without hitting them, what do you suggest they do?
Well, my favorite suggestion is always telling folks, go directly to www.positivediscipline.com. The first book that I suggest that you read, which you'll find listed there, is entitled Positive Discipline. And it was written by Dr. Jane Nelson, a mother of 7 children who wanted to learn how to raise a healthy, happy family without hitting her children. She ultimately developed this methodology called Positive Discipline, and it is already being used in the top performing schools in the USA.
What have been your most treasured successes since the start of your campaign?
I'd like to give you 5 of my most treasured successes. And 2 of them, right off the bat, are having Ohio and New Mexico both place a full ban on school corporal punishment in these two states, since the hitting stops here has become a part of the movement for bringing this to an end. So Ohio was banned in 2009, and New Mexico was banned in 2011. A third treasured success is the fact that Texas, although we did not get a full ban on corporal punishment in that state, a bill did go through that requires educators to gain permission before striking school children on their buttocks. The problem with that bill is that it still gives permission to teachers to strike children, and many parents in the state of Texas are unaware that this bill even passed. However, the fact that there was some motion in the state of Texas toward having this practice banned, that was a success. Prior to that, there wasn't even the opportunity for many parents in different communities to be able to pull together all the paperwork that is required with this bill for having their children's educators prohibited from striking them for changing their behavior. So that was, although a baby step, it is still a success because Texas is the leading state for this practice, and therefore the hardest to have the legislators there bring this problem to an end. If you've noticed some of my YouTubes lately, I am targeting them at Texas Representative Ron Paul. He's presently in the limelight. Everybody knows about Ron Paul. Ron Paul has the opportunity to, if nothing else, bring America's attention to this bill simply by endorsing it himself. Unfortunately, Texas Representative Ron Paul has remained silent about H.R. 3027, and we're still trying to reach out to him and ask him to sign this bill and make it known to the American people. We believe that if he wants to become president of the USA, then he must care about America, and therefore we want him to protect the future of America, which is its children. Now, another one that I'm very excited about is the ban placed on school corporal punishment in Robeson County, North Carolina. The Hitting Stops Here actually campaigned in Robeson County 6 times. They were the first county for the Hitting Stops Here to ever get out on the ground and rally and campaign for. And it turns out that not only did Robeson County ban, but also the county of Columbus. Now, these two counties in the state of North Carolina made up almost 2/3 of the entire number of beatings occurring in that state. Also, another statistic that's very alarming and sad is that there are only 2% of the North Carolina school population, only 2% are Native Americans, and yet at least 1/3 of this small percent were being administered school beatings. And so we're very excited to hear in the news recently, as a matter of fact, that was this month, March 2012, Robeson County and Columbus County both banned. That took out 2/3 of the regular routine school beatings occurring in North Carolina.
Wow, that's great.
Yes, and my last one is my favorite little story. And this one has to do with a friend of mine who I was sharing about the campaign for not hitting children. And she mentioned that she and her husband were going through a near breakup. She said, I'm ready to take my son and leave my husband because he is always hitting him. He's always spanking, beating, popping. He hits my son, our son, and I cannot get him to stop. So I told her, I said, you know something, I would hate to see your marriage break up because of this. I gave her Mr. Jordan Ryak's booklet. It's entitled Plain Talk About Spanking. And anybody who reads that booklet, unless they have a heart of stone, walks away with deep convictions that there is, in fact, something wrong with hitting children for gaining their obedience. Again, that booklet is called Plain Talk About Spanking. I gave her the book. She asked her husband to read it. He did so. He got it. And they ended up staying together and working things out. That's how effective this book is. It actually not only saved a child, but it saved a marriage. And one day when I saw her months down the line, she saw me and she told me, she said, "You know what, Paula? My little 5-year-old says to me every now and then, 'Mommy, who's the nice lady that made Daddy stop hitting me?'" So that was pretty big, especially for that one small boy.